Okay, welcome back. This video is taken from an interview with three of the developers from Age of Empires 4. It's specifically about the part where they respond to the graphics of units and their explanations for why they are the way they are. It's interesting. I will cut and pause it at times to give my reaction and my opinions on the answers. It's not filled me with much hope for graphics changing for the better, but here we go. Let's listen.
So, what was the thought process or the mindset when it comes to designing on how realistic the units, the buildings should be looking?
A great and straight to the point question.
Yeah, so the the one thing is the trailer that we had for 2019, it was probably more saturated than what the game is right now.
Yes. For all my complaining about the unit graphics, since the trailer, the gameplay is a lot less saturated now and it looks a lot better. But I'm sorry, I just love the point I've paused this video on. The developer on the left hand side of the screen is I don't know, he's not having a good time.
So the game, when it does get released, is probably not as saturated as what you've seen in the videos. We wanted to make sure that saturation informed gameplay in the sense that the most saturated elements on the screen, and the saturation levels and the colors are really just taken from AOE 2 and 3. And making sure that the most saturated elements on the screen is what you want the players to be looking at, which is units, the HUD, things like that.
So, it seems like their reasoning for the complete differentiation of graphical elements between units and buildings is so that you will concentrate more on units and the more important buildings, which I can understand, but uh, it looks shit. The units look shit. The color scheme for them and the brightness and everything, it just, yeah.
We really want to make sure that we had a painterly view of the game. It wasn't too sort of photorealistic because that's not really the style of the game.
Photorealistic. Age of Empires 2 was as photorealistic as it could be with the graphics at the time. So was Age of Empires 3. When Age of Empires 3 came out, the best thing about the game was how graphically it was made to look as quote unquote realistic as it could. So I don't think he quite gets what Age of Empires 2 and Age of Empires 3 did graphically.
And we wanted to make sure that there's enough depth between readability of the characters and the landscapes. And so also being able to use identification of buildings, like for example, military buildings, buildings that generate generic units, have warm rooftops, where civilian buildings have cool rooftops. So again, we're trying to make it easier for players to be able to distinguish what's important for them, what's not.
That is completely unnecessary. Why do you? That's irritating for one reason, because it treats the gamers and the players like they're idiots who do not understand that different buildings have different functions and are more important than other buildings. You can't over what's the word I'm looking for? Over baby the gamers and the people who are going to be playing this game. So by pointing out every single little thing and make everything stand out and everything different just because you want it to be as identifiable as possible. That's you're missing the point of you're taking an element out of the game, in my opinion. In Age of Empires 2 and Age of Empires 3, the buildings were all, there wasn't anything differentiating them other than the design architecturally. And that's how it should be. You should be able to identify your buildings without having to, yeah, okay.
The color red is rarely ever used except to identify enemies. So you notice that there's hue selections for very specific functions in the game. And yeah, so I'm really excited for the audience to see. Again, it still maintains the celebratory view of history, which I think is very important to the DNA of the franchise, which means it's not monotone, it's not post-apocalyptic. However, we do overlay the sort of the patriarch's sort of dark age theme, which again has been disproven.
I just want to say that is a lovely, floofy, big black cat that's got up on that couch right there.
But it's still fun to watch because it's so cinematically and emotionally fun to play with. The idea of your fog of war is that dark, misty, sort of iconic Middle Age environment. And as you build and push your empire, you actually bring light and color and celebration to the land, so to speak.
So, in terms of user interface, you did mention that it very much resembles the Age of Empires free user interface. We know from experience that many players like to change the way that the UI looks like in their game. Will we have the option to do that in AoE 4 as well?
AoE 3 and AoE 2's best elements hopefully will be combined in the gameplay here. Because as much as a superior game Age of Empires 2 was, AoE 3 had a lot of elements in it which were really cool and added different levels and layers to the game. So, yeah. Also, I would like to point out that whoever was in charge of the first Age of Empires 2 HD remake, do you remember when they decided to change all the hotkeys that people had used for like the last 15 years? I'm hoping that they will stick to some form of similar hotkey layout. But yeah, I digress. That's not the point of this video.
At the current, Quinn, do you want to field that one?
Well, yeah, no. There's currently no plans there apart from key bindings, and the ability to custom bind keys. I know in terms of reskinning the HUD and that kind of stuff, that might be something for mod support, kind of going forward, or for the live team to look at. But currently no plans around that right now.
I see. So, you did mention mod support. Can we hope that in the foreseeable future we'll have a similar mod support that we have for the other Age games?
We know that creativity and sort of customizing is really important to Age players, and so that's definitely something that we've had in mind. We're going to share a little bit more about that as we move forward. There's so many more elements of the game we have to talk about. We don't want to reveal everything all at once. We're going to be talking about different elements between now and launch.
Yeah, that just means like we're thinking about it. It's not very important. But anyway, what I take from that section of this interview is that there are not going to be much changes to the graphical outlay, and the almost cartoonish and standout nature of the units is a deliberate element put in there so that you can differentiate between buildings and units, because apparently we're all idiots who can't do it without being given such an obvious differentiation. Differentiation, that's the word. Like, it will still be playable. I'll still buy it, but if they enable game mods, and that'll be one of the first things they will change about this game. Modders will come into this game and they will fix the units and they will make it so much better, and these guys will be all pissy about it. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, the reaction. I've not seen very many positive reactions to these comments online because yeah, we'll see. But yeah, Relic, you've done some good games in the past, you've done some terrible games in the past. Oh, I wish Ensemble Studios was still around. On that note, ciao.